Where'd Bill Miley go? Did he stay? Okay, he's outside. Okay, well, I have 6 o'clock, 6:01. And so I will call to order the Ojai Parks and Rec Commission meeting for Thursday, July 3rd, 2025. And can you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Tabakbank.
Present.
Chair Taylor.
Present.
Vice Chair Ittner.
Present.
Commissioner Lear.
Present.
And Robert Munich is absent at the moment.
Technically, he's not sworn in, so I'm not sure how you reflect that in the record, but yes, he's not here. And if you will all rise to join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, and we have an approval of the agenda. Hi, welcome, thank you. Do I have a
Move to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Okay.
I
Thank you.
second.
Thank you. I don't think I need a roll call on that. I guess I do. If there's a motion, can I get a roll call on that?
Commissioner Tabakbank.
Yes.
Chair Taylor.
Yes.
Vice Chair Ittner.
Yes.
Commissioner Lear.
Yes.
Okay, and moving right along to our consent agenda, our minutes for yes.
Public communications.
Sorry,
No, it's okay.
I need numbers on here.
I know.
How come we left off? Yeah, why did we leave off the numbers? Okay, I saw that and I thought it was thing. We'll do our, and I like public comments, so it's easier for me. Is that the new wording? We have to have public communications? Oh, okay. Sage and I were struggling with the new format. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'd like numbers. If we're allowed to have numbers, that would be really great. Thank you. So I have 2 speaker cards. Let's see. One is for general public comments. Mr. Miley. I think I'm okay so far.
Hello, it's a pleasure to be here with the commission meeting. I never had anything to do on Thursday nights for 2 years almost. And now I do, at least once a month. So anyway, I wanted to say publicly that it's very nice. I appreciate about every quarter the guidebook that comes out. It's outstanding. It's better than outstanding. I always send, like now I send Christy a note saying, wow, it's really great. Anyway, I'm pleased to be here and have you back. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. And we are pleased to have you join us. It's always nice to have the public. Okay, even though there's not a number here, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. We have kind of an unusual one. Number 1 is our minutes from 2023. I did review the video, and Sage was present. So I think in the interest of moving forward, we can, certainly anybody else who watched the video can motion for it, but that would be the preference that you have watched the video and read the minutes before someone makes a motion on the accuracy to reflect them for the record. Or we can adopt the video, but I'll need a motion from someone who was present.
Happily to adopt the video.
And
the minutes, the official minutes for that meeting.
And I would second, based on my review. And I don't need a roll call. Well, let's see. I think that's the new thing. They said I need it on every motion.
Commissioner Tabakbank.
Aye.
Chair Taylor.
Yes.
Vice Chair Ittner.
Yes.
Commissioner Lear.
Yes.
And part 2 of that is our minutes from our last meeting. I did have 2 minor, they're not really changes, they're more edits. minor typos here. It has, the word chair leading the pledge, which I did, but then it has Entner, so we'd want to just, could we change that to Chair Taylor? And then on Part B, where we talked about the ethics training, instead of there being it should be present, because those were the 3 commissioners that were there. We didn't actually vote on that.
There was no action taken.
Mhm.
So I don't even know if we need present, it would just be, I mean,
Well, it would be good to reflect
know
that,
who it-
yeah, who was
okay.
present at the training. That was my only comment, and, any other, input?
the only thing, and I'm not sure if it's necessary or not, is a lot of times they'll put who made them, who moved the item forward or made the motion, and who did the second. I don't know if that's required. If it's not required, then we don't need to do it, but, that's more of a question.
Yeah, or like what format they want for moving forward, we weren't sure. Otherwise, Brenda, do you have any other changes or comments?
No, my question I think will come down when we get to discussion items.
Okay. Then I would move that we would, accept those with the, changes as discussed.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Fast.
Chair Tabak
Aye.
Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Chair Ettner,
Aye.
Commissioner Lear.
Aye.
Perfect. Normally on the consent, we take the whole consent thing, but I broke it down, for those of you watching or listening, because we had questions on those too. Okay. Wow, moving right along onto our discussion items. We have our election of new officers. We did elect 2 at our last meeting, but we deferred the, position of secretary. We were waiting for a full commission. I know Brenda's heard some of the discussion from last time. Brad, you weren't a part of that, but it was about there being a shift in wanting to have the minutes done by a commissioner versus staff. And we can certainly talk more about that, but I feel, I'm not sure if we should put it off till another meeting when we actually do have a full commission.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure in the last meeting that we had it approved to move to September.
That's what we talked about.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
was
okay.
the discussion we had, is to revisit it in September.
Okay. July, August, September, okay. I didn't catch that on my review of the minutes, so we probably should have changed that, but, okay. I think that would be better.
Yeah.
I don't know that we need to have another motion on that, but, it's a discussion item. I think we can
So
just
no
table it.
action.
We don't need a table, yeah, we can just table it for a future agenda item to September. And then hopefully Robert will be on and you'll have the opportunity to see what that would entail.
I think it's really important to determine whether or not a member of the commission is going to be taking the minutes or a member of staff. I prefer staff mainly because while you're writing things down, you're listening to things, your mind isn't set on the issue itself. I just think that everybody's full attention should be directed towards whatever the discussion is, rather than for trying to figure out what's going to go in the minutes.
I agree. It's
That's
the way
historically been the
yeah.
practice.
Yeah.
This is a new thing, and that was exactly what our input was for last week, so, or last meeting. So if Robert is here and he has a different opinion in September, we can certainly take it forward, but
So for now, staff will
table
take, staff will take.
staff will
minutes.
continue taking it, and we'll table it for another discussion in September. Mhm. And again, this is just a discussion item. We don't need to have a motion to move something to a future agenda. Okay, we are going to review our calendar. Again, I feel like a bunch of our stuff that we wanted to talk to is contingent on participation of a full commission. So I hope Robert's okay, because I know he was really excited to be here tonight. So not hearing from him is concerning. In the agenda packet, we have the proposed dates. I think with the 4 of us here, we can probably safely move forward. Had everybody had a chance to look at those dates? It's the first Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. here. That's been our historic time slot for quite some time.
I'm fine with all those dates.
Okay,
I do have September 4th, I'm away, it was a trip I planned
Okay.
many moons ago.
okay. How does September 4th work for you?
So far as I know, it's fine.
Okay, I think that's right
I
around
don't plan my life
Labor.
that far in advance.
That's Labor Day's around there.
Let me just look here and make sure. I think that is the Labor Day weekend.
Week.
Oh no, Labor Day is actually the first this year, so it's after Labor Day. It's just tricky because it's on the first, that it sneaks up on you.
So you're talking about what date in October? The 7th?
September 4th would be the
Oh,
only date that
September
Brenda
4th.
has a conflict on.
Okay. I have it down in my calendar, and that's all I have, so.
Okay.
On the 4th, did you want to move it? to
No,
another
we
day?
just want to make sure that we have a quorum just based on, so if the three of us are here, that's totally fine, and hopefully Robert will be joining us soon, so. With that said, do we want to, motion to, approve these dates as presented?
Do we need to approve them? Because they're
Well-
already set.
I think that the commission is supposed to adopt the calendar
All right,
by formal action.
all right.
We need a motion first.
I move to adopt the regular meeting calendar as presented for this rest of the year.
I
Second.
second.
Okay, we have a tie for second. A dueling second.
Commissioner Tabak-Bank,
Aye.
Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Chair Intner,
Aye.
Commissioner Lear.
Aye.
Great. I feel like we're like speeding. I had asked Sage earlier, I had lost my voice earlier in the week, and I said she may have to take over, but it's going really quickly, so I think I'm okay for now. Moving on to the next item, we have Ojai Unified School District pool update. We also have a speaker card. It's kind of, if you would like to speak first, Mr. Miley, you're welcome to, or we can open it up and we can have comments. I'll leave it up to you since you're our only speaker tonight.
Do you want to have the administrative report first?
I think so, but I was gonna leave it up to. I will do it either way, if you prefer. I'd prefer to let staff give their presentation, and then if you want to comment after, does that work for you? Okay, let's do that.
Okay, so what we've got here is an update. So I had looked back on former meetings and, in the past, and it looked like that there was a conversation about the pool back then. I don't know where my admin report is.
Oh, do you want to?
Oh, here it is. So, and what I saw was back from 2022. Now, since then, since I began this position in December, I've had a few conversations with the school district. And so we had to ask for a proposal or what they were thinking. And the letter is what was provided. We looked it over, we talked about it, and then inside of this admin report was my response. So I don't know if you need me to read it.
It might be nice for the
Want me to
public
read it
to
all?
understand.
Okay.
It's brief, and I think it's really valuable information for our record.
Yeah, do you want the whole discussion read out? Okay.
Please.
So in 2022, the Recreation Commission discussed the potential reintroduction of community aquatic programming at the Nordhoff High School pool. At that time, there was interest in receiving past offerings by the Recreation Department, including youth and adult swim lessons, lap swim, and public swim. The commission requested that staff explore pool usage fees and availability through communication with OUSD. Following the commission's directions, staff initiated outreach to OUSD, and since that time have met with district representatives to discuss options for community pool access and programming. OUSD provided a formal proposal for the city's consideration to enter into a joint use agreement for shared operation of the new OUSD Aquatic Center, enclosed as Attachment A. OUSD proposed the city manage the pool operations and staffing. So the letter that was given by Kevin Olson, and then our response was, After reviewing our staffing resources and the possibility of managing the pool at Nordhoff High School, we've determined that for now, we can only support public access during designated free swim times on weekends and throughout the summer months or vacation times. At this time, we're not in a position to manage or coordinate use of the facility by outside groups or organizations. That said, this may change in the future, and we can revisit the possibilities as circumstances evolve. We appreciate your understanding, and we are excited to keep the conversation going to work together towards an accessible public pool for the community. Let me know if you have any concerns. And then after that, we had another conversation, and OUSD has very recently initiated discussions with the Channel Islands YMCA to explore the feasibility of that organization managing aquatic programming at the Nordhoff Pool. This development is still in early stages, but as the situation develops, staff will return with updates to the commission.
And just to clarify, when you say, this came up in my readings of it, when it's free swim time, they're not talking about monetary free, they're talking about hours of operation free.
Correct. Yeah, so it wouldn't be, classes of lap swim or anything, it's
When
just
school's
open
in-
swim.
Right, when school's in session, it would not be considered a free time.
No, yeah.
Can I ask, and this is, as far as that response, so it was specific to not include swim lessons like we have done historically or any kind of programming?
Well, what the proposal was more than that. It
Oh,
was
no,
to-
not,
Oh,
no,
okay.
the proposal. I'm just, in our response, was it meant to be that it would be just open swim or programming that we would take on?
Yeah,
So
I
it could
think
still include
small
swim
programming.
lessons and all, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah. But not outside organizations.
Well, we can definitely receive and file, but there's so much more to be explored. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
and it's great that it's on, kind of our radar. I don't even know that, in addition, and we've talked about this in the past, about, putting together like an ad hoc.
Do we
for
wanna have,
pools.
do we wanna have comment now or start discussion?
Either one. We can continue our
Discussion? Okay.
discussion, and
That's
then we
great.
can open up for public comments. I just don't want to, I don't want the commission to be barred from exploring other locations, and typically we would form an ad hoc, not just to study Nordhoff OUSD pool, but to study community pool, and that maybe that's something that this, if the council so chooses to direct us in that, adventure, we can form an ad hoc of two commissioners and staff to work with, whether it's the county or the OUSD, because I'm not sure that OUSD is the only fit for a public pool
I think,
without exploring it more.
having seen the proposal, it's premature. I mean, I'm not sure what they're talking to the YMCA about, but there was nothing here to really talk about because there's no data. I mean, there's no understanding of when it's gonna be available to us. I mean, all the understanding that I have comes from having watched their meetings and the discussions that were publicly held about the pool. And at that time, it was very clear that access would only be when students aren't on campus. Which, if you've ever been to that campus, there are practices going on till like 7 o'clock at night at least. They have historically offered 0 period, which means that early time is, so
And even on weekends, during water polo season, they have,
Yeah.
weekend.
so there's so much, I mean, there's so much missing. I guess what I look at this and it's an idea.
So
But-
this was meant strictly for an update, because I know it's coming up and it's a big topic. A lot of people are talking about it, everybody sees it. So it's just strictly an update. This is what has happened so far.
Is there an estimate time of completion, in terms of?
I believe it is supposed to open August or September. Mm-hmm.
That
What
would
is
be
the
nice.
size of the pool? Is it Olympic size?
No, it's
Yeah.
not, no, they went
I
with
don't know
the
if it's
smaller.
They
Olympic
had two
side.
Yeah, the
options,
two, mhm.
and they went with the smaller of the two options.
Yeah, it's not quite, it's
Okay.
like the next size down from.
I think it's
size.
bigger than the one at the athletic club, the lap pool.
I think,
Bigger than
I guess,
that one.
back to where we are before, we don't have any information.
Yeah, no, yes.
I've watched the previous meetings, you might have watched the previous meetings, I'm trying to recall what came up, but I guess I'm a little confused by this. I mean, I just think it'd be great to see, if they really are interested in some kind of partnership, we need information. And this is, I also have to say, just, it's a little alarming that as the city, the quarterly basis review with the profit and loss share, I guess I feel like we're being, the city's being put in the place of a recreation district. We are not a recreation district. An expectation of a 50% share in profits or losses on the city of,
That's really
8,000
huge.
people, a little less, is a little confusing. So I feel like there's just so much that needs to be brought forward before there's even really a discussion to be had.
What's disturbing to me is that they weren't willing to put up enough money to do a study in advance as to who is going to use it, how it's going to be used, hours, whether it was going to be open to the public. They just went in and built it. That kind of attitude concerns me because it's going to be their pool no matter what.
It is their pool.
Yeah, no matter what, it's their pool.
Yeah.
They're going to do with it what they like to do with it, regardless of what our desires are. I have been talking to people just to find out if they have any interest in putting up money to do this. And I've gotten a lot of good feedback from people who say, yeah, this town needs a public pool, and we'd be willing to support it and donate money for it. My suggestion is that if we can raise privately enough money to do a study, that we get our own study done. And that study include not just the pool, but a recreation area where our constituents can go and do the pool. They may start their own water polo team, whatever it is that they want to do, and especially during the summer, it's really important to have that. I would like to see whether or not we could raise enough money privately to go forward with a plan to see what the real need is here, how much it would cost, how we would measure and open it to the public and go forward with that. If they were talking about $30,000 when they started, let's say $40,000 now or $50,000, I don't think, maybe I'm being a little premature in my thinking, but I don't think we would have a problem raising that kind of money with the understanding that it's going to be directed at getting a pool. And the feasibility study is really important because, they had a campus. We have a couple of parks. They knew where they wanted to do it. They knew exactly what they wanted to do, but nonetheless, they didn't get a feasibility study. I would like to see if we can put this on an agenda maybe in a couple of months, and in the meantime, I'd like to see if I could raise the money. But first we have to find out how much money we want to raise.
We can certainly, they're almost two different things. I think for purposes of our agenda item today, we can receive and file the update. I have some public comments I'd like to take, but I would agree that we need to have it on an agenda item almost ongoing and decide which direction the council wants us to go in as a commission and get a little bit of direction from council on what they want us to explore. But
A little bit of history. Previously, we had a pool ad hoc committee that was looking at general community pool, but also was looking into what the school district was doing and trying to keep up with that. And I think that was a good approach.
yeah, it was really successful, and then our commission was debunked. So, and that's kind of when the pool sort of started getting built at
Rolling,
Nordoff. We
yes,
weren't
on
part
that,
of that, yeah, because we weren't actively meeting, so I would agree.
I'm less than impressed with their offer. And if if we went ahead and raised the money, whether we go and do it with them or we do it on our own, at least we have greater bargaining power because they don't want to lose us because it's an income stream for them.
There was
Maybe.
definitely a cost associated with their
There's a
offer,
cost
that's for sure.
associated too with it as well, yes.
Well, I appreciate staff's response. I think that I really, you know, it was always the goal to keep it at Nordhoff as long as we could, and we did. And then for a couple of years, we were at Villanova for the aquatics program. The city ran it, and they were very accommodating, but then that became not an option. So we ended up at a place where there just wasn't an option anymore. But definitely, I mean, we really want to bring back swim lessons and the ability for kids to get in the water during the summer.
Sounds good.
Okay, I have one public comment from Mr. Riley before we move on.
I have one online.
Okay. Bill?
Hi. Listening to what you said is really all good. So, I have read the letter from Kevin Olson, and in the Ojai Valley News, I read where the school district proposes the city manage the pool weekends in the summer, and that it may open in September, like Christy said. And it's a 35-meter pool. I have been involved a lot in the past few years trying to get the city council, the school board, also with a group of 7 other people, to fully make this an aquatic center for community and school, like they said when they proposed the bond issue in 2020. Clearly, it was an aquatic center for community and school. But they didn't acknowledge that. And eventually, a lot of us worked to get rid of the former board, and they're gone. So we have a nice new board now. I added something to my message. I said, I think it's important that the city be selfish. This community, this valley does not have a community pool. And we know it does get hot occasionally here. And it's sad. There have been efforts in the past to develop a pool, to fundraise, that I wasn't involved in years ago, and it never happened. So the idea that you're talking about is a good idea, but it has been tried in the past, and it probably has a lot of block areas to block it and make it difficult. So we should try to make this work for our needs now. Be selfish. The best we can do, what we can do now, the best we can do, if there's a greater need and it shows up, then work on the community pool. Councilmember Leslie Rule talks about having a pool at Soul Park, which is a good idea, eventually. Okay, so, as I said, I've been involved a lot in trying to get a full aquatic center. Early on, it looked like it was only going to be a school facility. But now that they've included the community, my last 3-minute speech to them was at their board meeting over at Matilla House School. And I said to them, I've spoken before to them 2 or 3 times, and it was ignored. Like they said, next item? This time I said, I am really sad, because since I'm the only one, okay? And 4 of them talked to me for the first time in 2 years. These are the new people, including the superintendent, okay? Well, Mr. Olson's letter certainly starts the process. I would like to know, though, who from the city management is and will be involved in the deliberations. Is it beside the city manager and the final city council approval? Mr. Olson did not state that cost management with the city will be only for times when the city will be using it. Sounds like he wants to run the whole thing. It's important to note that the previous school board refused to pay for a feasibility study. They don't really know what it's going to cost. And it was only going to cost them $30,000. Pretty sad. I would hope that that a subcommittee of this commission would be appointed to participate in the negotiations to craft the city part of this aquatic center pool. It's a huge job, but it's really important. And if you can run the guide and all those activities, you can learn to run the pool and make it a community pool for the Ojai Valley, because you provide services to the Ojai Valley. And I don't really want the YMCA to run it unless you can, okay? So, does the city intend to charge community admission fees that will cover the cost of operating the pool only during city run times? Will there be multiple day passes, monthly passes, season passes, and other multiple events entrance passes? How about family memberships? Will the city be sponsoring special recreation type activities like we need classes for everybody who is born here and raised here to learn how to swim? You should not grow up not knowing how to swim, even if you don't like the water. Okay? And seniors are in need of water exercises and opportunity for water activities. In summary, with the relatively warm winter days and obviously hot to very hot summer days, having a community pool is a great addition to this valley. Having the city manage public use times, summer, weekends at least, is a wonderful opportunity for adding this recreation facility to our valley community. And this commission should definitely be part of the negotiations from now on. And I didn't like what I read, which was read it and file it. I'm not sure who wrote that, but I didn't like that. The value is having local management run the community pool for the valley, not the YMCA in Ventura, because they're going to run it based on the needs of the people that are here. So please be selfish. Stay involved. Don't let the school district put the whole thing on us. Pay for the times that we're running it, and we're going to hope for the best. If not, then we'll dig a pool and make a new one. Thank you.
Thank you. And I believe you said we have somebody online as well, and I have one more speaker card here. So we'll go to our online comments. Larry?
Good evening. Thank you for this. I read the letter. You've received my letter on the fact that it was a good try by the school committee to get us to handle the operations and running it, except we would then have to decide with them what the fees are and the expenses and what our profit and losses are. So it's a good try for them to get rid of it, the operations. It's their pool. They should run it. They should tell us exactly what they're charging all the individuals, whether it's from the county OUSD or the city OUSD, how much per person they're charging for the year or whatever it is. And we should just make a contribution for our own citizens and let them run it. If we're going to try to do our own pool, they're already estimating $250,000 a year to handle operations without the people to run it. The pool manager, the assistant pool manager, the lifeguards, the management. All we should get from the county, from OUSD, is how much they are charging per citizen to use it for free time. And if we have 8,000 citizens and they're charging $10 a person or $50 a person for the annual use of it, just figure out how much our contribution is going to be for our own citizens to pay a discount or free. We're already paying for the pool. And the fact that OUSD says, oh, they've made the commitment for the pool. Oh no, the taxpayers have made the commitment for the pool for community aquatic services. So it's on them to tell us how much they want from us, not how much they want us to take over. Because it's a great opportunity for them. They don't want to run it. So please, we need to get a dollar number from them, how much they want, or how much they're going to charge everybody. So then we can make our share. It's their pool, not ours. If we're going to have our own citizens pool, then we have to do the same thing they're doing, but in reverse. They have an $18 million bond out for the pool. That's how much they spent. It was out 80 million, whatever. Are we prepared to do that? How big a pool? Are we going to have more employees, more pension benefits, more this? I'd rather just cut a check and use the pool and see how it works out. So thank you very much, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you for joining us. And we have Steve Quillisi on the pool. I just want to say thank you for everyone who's here tonight, and we love your input and your comments. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Like Larry Steingold, I'm a member of the Citizens Oversight Committee on the school bonds, measures J and K. I think it is J and K. The paper that you have seen is accurate. It's around 15 million, maybe a little bit more, to put this pool in. That includes some outbuildings and things that the city might not need if it were doing its own pool. If you decide to use the pool at Nordhoff, you should expect that the school district will say citizens are only welcome at the pool and allowed into the pool when there are no organized OUSD activities. So this is before and after the normal school day. If there's a meet on a weekend, then the public's going to be excluded. During the summer, I think it's pretty much open. The other thing, and by the way, this is a 35-meter pool. 35-meter lap, one-way laps is the standard for high school. 50 is the standard for college and Olympics. Keep in mind, whether you decide that you want a piece of time at the Nordhoff pool or you want a city pool, that along with that goes operating expenses, and along with that goes liability. If the city has its own pool, then 7 by 24, the city is liable for what happens at that pool. Not just the operating expenses like having someone to manage it, having lifeguards whenever the public is allowed in, but also having to keep track of who might show up and drown, pardon the bad language in one sense, that the city will be liable. If you get, and I don't care which way you decide to go, it's a financial decision that you have to study, and study very hard before you come to a conclusion. But if the city is going to have people go to the Nordhoff pool at certain hours or days or months, maybe even during the summer, then the city is going to have liability for those times. And the city is going to need to provide lifeguards, because the school district will not put lifeguards there to safe keep people that are not school people using the pool. You have to keep in mind the amount of equipment that has to be built, the use of chemicals to keep the pool clean and algae-free, all of those things. So as you decide to do an analysis of what's the right thing to do, keep in mind all of those things that have to be done. And whether your lifeguards are full-time because it's a city pool, or they're part-time because you're just using part of the Nordhoff pool, you will probably need to have someone who is paid to be around to manage the city's activities at the pool for more hours than you are hiring lifeguards, for example. So keep all of that in mind. I'm not advocating one way or another. Larry is certainly right in saying the school bonds were sold as school bonds for a community pool. But there was no detail behind it after that. And as a member like Larry of the Citizens Oversight Committee, what we are doing is making sure that the money that is being spent out of the bonds is spent properly. It's spent for only the things that the bonds are allowed to be spent for. And we have communicated with the school board in terms of budgeting for operating costs. And that could be anywhere from up to $250,000 a year. I don't know, $20,000 a month, maybe. We have not done any detailed analysis.
Is
But-
that the operating cost as part of the bond as well? I don't remember.
No,
it's
no.
separate, right? Okay.
The bond was strictly for capital improvements. And so our recommendation to the school board was that they come up with a good idea. And there's one company here in the state that builds most of the public pools, or the school pools, if you will. And I don't remember the name of the company right offhand, but they can give you some pretty good ideas based on the size of the pool that you want as to what it will cost to operate it. Now, to staff it, that's another whole question, and you need to decide for yourselves if you want to have either a piece of the Nordhoff pool or a city pool. How much staffing do you want? Is one lifeguard enough? Do you want 2 lifeguards? Where do you find them? What do you pay them? Okay? So just food for thought, and I wish you well in your analysis.
Can I ask just the quick question? So the 250,000 is kind of the number that's being thrown around for,
That was a number that the Citizens Oversight Committee put in a letter to the school board saying it could be as much as this
okay,
to operate the pool, and we recommend that you, the school board, budget for that. One, so that everybody knows what it's costing, and second, because that also includes maintenance and upkeep of the facility, without which the value of the facility will deteriorate over time, and the value of the bonds will have been wasted. Okay?
thank you.
Any other questions? Glad to help.
Thank you. Thank you for all that.
Can I state a few comments? I'd like to get a copy of the bond. I wasn't living here when it was passed, so I'd like to see what it says.
Steve, are those still, I sat on the original oversight committee. Aren't those bond initiatives all on the, don't we have a website or part of OUSD's website? Can access it? I think you
Okay,
can go on
good.
to OUSD and it'll have all that data.
Yeah. As to the issue of liability, either way we have liability. It doesn't matter if it's our pool or not our pool. If we hire and pay people who work there, or you can be 8 degrees of separation. A personal injury attorney is going to name everybody. Trust me. The use of the pool is an issue so far as I'm concerned, because in most schools they are going to have, it's not going to be open for classes. Daytime is the best time for seniors. Seniors are not going to go at night. After school, there's always practice, and then there are games. We are going to be relegated to a very minimal amount of time with what appears to be a maximum amount of money spent for it. And lastly, I think that if we looked at it in a broader sense and said it was not just a pool, but community space that could be used for other things, I think that would be an excellent idea as well. If you form an ad hoc committee, I'd like to be on it. I have a real interest in this.
Just to clarify, so in the initiation of this project, there is no written proposed expenses, plan, programming?
We
The
suggested
discussion,
it.
the
Okay.
discussion earlier was, there was a request to do a feasibility study of the
Right.
district, at the district level, and they chose not to.
Interesting.
So,
Pools are
They said it was
expensive.
cost,
Well,
well, they were,
it
it was
was
$30,000 at the time.
$30,000.
Yeah, okay.
But that, you
Well,
know,
I mean, the study would be well worth it, because
Yeah.
to run a pool is really expensive. I don't know any pools that actually make
money,
income.
no.
well, circling back to our discussion item, I think this is all great information. I love that we have it on the agenda so that it's on the public's radar. Hopefully it'll bring more people out, and I think that it is a little, I mean, we can adopt and file the report, but we definitely have a lot more work to do. And I think, one of the things that I would like from council is a little bit of direction on, is it just, do they want us just narrowing this to this OUSD? Or can we start exploring by creating an ad hoc, to do, other, potentially community pool projects? I think
I
we need
think-
direction from them.
Well, I think we had historically an ad hoc committee working on pools. I think we should start that again.
Agendize it for next month, to
Yeah.
have it so that maybe.
And do we have to, this is just a question of process. I'm not sure, it's part of the record already. I don't think
Oh,
we need a motion or
Well,
anything.
they have it on the agenda to, receive
Receive
and
it.
file, so technically that is, we're receiving it and filing it. I don't know that we need a motion for that.
I don't-
The new format is really confusing to
Yeah,
me.
because we've never done it that way before. We received
Staff
informational
reports.
items and staff updates, but we never took any, if there was an action item to take, we would take it or make a recommendation or move it forward with questions or recommendations to council, but I'm confused, because it's part of the permanent record now,
By
just
having it
by
on here.
fact of being introduced.
I think that, moving forward for clarification, I would say we can agendize it as a future topic, and instead of calling it OUSD, why don't we just call it a community pool?
Yeah,
And whether that takes us down a path of forming an ad hoc or collaborating with OUSD or exploring a feasibility study to go to Seoul or to another property. I
So-
mean, it leaves it open, but.
so how about we have it as a future agenda item for the next meeting, is discuss and possibly form a pool ad hoc committee
And
for
so,
our next agenda.
for purposes of our minutes, we receive and we file the report as presented, and we move on to our commission member reports with, unless there's any further discussion on the topic.
That works for me.
Does that work?
Works for me. So are we going to agendize for the next meeting, this
And I think-
creation of an ad hoc committee? Good.
And I think just a general, we'll just call it a community pool, whether it takes us, and we can discuss it more, when it's on agenda, and plus then perhaps that's something Robert might be interested in doing as well. And then
Good.
that way we have a full commission of people who, that way we're not limiting ourselves for, we can only have 2 people on the ad hoc. So.
Okay.
And we'll officially do this when we discuss future agenda items.
Yes.
Which we're getting close.
We're getting close. Okay, so we're on our commission member reports.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Susie and I know each other. But would you guys like a moment just to introduce yourselves? I mean, you did a little bit
Sure.
last time, but I
Yeah.
mean, maybe we'll do it again next month too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Moms play cards together, so
Yes.
we are been in the valley for 50 years.
Yeah,
and
but if you
you're
guys,
welcome
if
to
you're
take
interested.
Sure,
I'm
absolutely.
the
you on the
newbie,
spot.
I know that.
Likewise. You're gonna rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah.
Let's do it. I'll jump in. I've lived in Ojai now for 14 years. Let's see, my professional world has been in the world of recreation for the past 3 decades. So I think that's part of the reason why I'm here, as well as wanting to really give to the community and dive in and be a bigger part of the community. And also tapping in a bit more. I've got a 7-year-old who's now tapping into Parks and Rec, so getting to know a lot of people and hearing from the community. But so in the world of recreation, I've been a part of big facility builds. I've worked in running sports programs, outdoor education, adventure programming. I currently work as an assistant director of recreation at UCSB and oversee all things fitness and wellness. So I oversee about 100 classes a quarter, so about 60 instructors. I have an occupational health and wellness program that we work with staff and faculty who have worker comp claims. I have a team of personal trainers, a massage therapist, 2 RDs, so we get to work a lot with people. I buy all the fitness equipment and layouts. I get to train staff. So I work a lot with student leaders who keep me on my toes and keep me connected to what the current language is. And so I have my hands full, but I feel like I've worked in every aspect of recreation. Even with pool, I've worked as a lifeguard for 10 years back in the day. So I'm excited to share my experience and, these days working a little bit more in the strategic planning, financial. That's why my eyes get big when we talk about the pool. I'm like, it's expensive, like looking at the dollars, especially as you get down the road and pools get older. So I'm excited to be a part and share.
Great, thank you.
I don't want to follow that. My background is a little more prosaic. Born and raised in Los Angeles. I went away to boarding school, then I went to Berkeley, then I went east to law school at Cornell, and then I came back, and I just practiced law. I've also been involved in a lot of nonprofits. I was chair of Vista Del Mar Child and Family Services. I was chair of, at UCLA, of the Center for the Art of Performance. I was chair at the Kaufman School of Dance at USC. I've been involved in a lot of nonprofit and fundraising kind of things in the past. Law was sort of my sideline to getting and working with nonprofits. I moved up here I'm a widower, but I've been with my partner, significant other, for the past almost 20 years. We moved up here 2.5 years ago. We started our remodel 2.5 years ago. It's almost been 4 years that we've been living here. And as a friend of mine says, who are the newbies here? Everybody who moved in after I did.
Well, welcome you guys. Thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
great to have you both.
For stepping up and
Yeah.
joining the commission. It was well needed and appreciated.
Thank you.
I don't have any actual comments or reports. Do you have anything to share?
No.
Okay. And anything you would want to bring forward or report on, or kind of their opportunity to just kind of put out there if you have a agenda item that you want to have considered, or if it's a meeting that you might have attended that would
I would like to, the other thing that I'm very interested in is activities for seniors. I went through the list of things that were offered, and none of them really struck my fancy. But that may be just me. I'd like to see an expansion of those kinds of activities. I suspect they support themselves, and they give an opportunity for people who otherwise wouldn't have things to do or places to go. This could be a lonely town if you're a senior and you don't have activities during the day. So my two big issues are the pool and the expansion of activities for seniors.
I can say that Sage's mother and my mother, I think my mom's 85 and she has a better social life than I do. So I know the opportunities are out there. And she's either playing cards or she's Yes, right. Pickleball is big. Cards are big. Golfing. But yeah, she's lunch. She's busy 5 days a week. My daughters are Grandma, why are you not answering? What else do you do besides, Anyway, she's very busy, but I would agree the self-supporting senior activities would be something
Yeah.
that we can explore. So, and Christy, she's interim recreation manager. She's stepped up, and that's kind of her area. And so if there's something specific that you have in mind, it doesn't necessarily have to come through the commission. That's something that that you can work with Christy on directly, and she can kind of say, oh, we've thought about this, and
I welcome any ideas.
I'll give you, for instance, this just comes to mind. They've opened up the theater. It would be great to start a senior movie club. The owners of the theater seem more than willing to bring back old movies, and I'm sure that a lot of seniors would like to go see things that they saw a long time ago and would like to see again. And I think they'd be, from what I've seen of what they're bringing, I see no reason why they might not be interested in doing that.
okay, thank you. And Brenda, I'm sorry, did you have anything else?
Just something that's been stirring, I'm curious about is Matilaha Middle School.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, I'm assuming that's school district land property, but is there a plan? Because there's a lot of recreational space right there.
It's used right now for Legacy High School.
I think
Okay.
they moved the whole DO over there, didn't they?
And all of the district office, but
Yeah.
I think that it's my understanding that the 7th and 8th graders are practicing at the gym, right? Because there's just not enough gym space. You may have to take over because I'm out of lozenges. I don't want to start coughing. I think 7th and 8th graders are using that since they all go to Nordhoff now, but there's not enough gym space, so they do still use it. Mm-hmm. And all the district offices are there, and then they run the Legacy High School out of the first main wing there.
But
My understanding.
it's a good question.
Yeah.
Because it definitely does have a lot of resources.
Yeah.
A lot of real estate. Okay. And Christy, do you have any other reports to share, manager reports?
I do.
Okay.
I have some updates of stuff that's going on. Let me find where my sheet is. So, of course, tomorrow is going to be the 4th of July parade. And immediately following the parade, we are going to have the 4th of July picnic back at Sarasota Park.
Yay.
So we will be having a DJ, we'll be having water slides, ice cream truck, all kinds of games outside. And then the 4th of July committee will be presenting the float awards at 1:30 there on a little stage. So we've got that coming back, and then of course the fireworks, which are going to be at Nordhoff.
And those will be
Fireworks.
Traditional fireworks.
Traditional
to
fireworks,
clarify
no
for anybody.
drones. And then I just wanted to update about our open house that we had in May. It was a great event, more people than ever, lots of good feedback, and we are starting a outside movie. So we've got 2 movies planned.
That's great.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're bringing
That's
it
like-
back.
I used
So
to use that as a date night babysitter. It was really wonderful when my kids were young. They really liked
Yeah.
going, and they are served pizza, I think, if I
well,
remember.
that's kids' night out. So that
Oh,
goes
let's
on
see.
every other Friday still.
Okay,
So
okay.
that's date night for the parents.
Yeah.
And then we also just introduced about a week ago family night, because I had a comment from parents that said, well, I kind of want to go with my child. So we did a family night out, which was really neat. But this will be outside. This will be on
with
the
the
field.
blow-up screen type of thing.
Mhm,
Oh,
with the
that's
blow-up
great.
screen. So the first event will be on July 19th. We are going to play the new Snow White. And then we have a second movie planned for August 16th, which will be the new Lilo and Stitch.
And is there a cost for that?
No,
No, it's a free
community
community event.
free
Well, that's
community
great,
event
Christina.
with popcorn.
That's great.
Popcorn. And then we are in process right now of creating our fall activity guide, which will include our holiday trolley light tour again. I don't know if you or if anybody was able to go on that tour last December, but it was so fun.
And what
Totally
about
sold
the
out.
haunted
Oh.
the ghost stories, or what was that called?
It's the gentleman.
That was a really popular event too. It sold out.
He still does that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charman, I can't, what was it called?
He did a couple of them.
I think
Ghost
it's
stories, I
called
think.
Ghost
Ghost
Tours.
tours or
Ghost
something.
Tours.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
really
I
popular.
can't think of the gentleman's name, though. He's
His last name is Sennett.
There you go.
That's right.
Richard.
Yeah,
That's right.
Richard
Richard
Sennett.
Sennett.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
So
was
he
really
still
popular.
does that.
Now, is that something that we program?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
sell out quickly.
Yes.
So that'll be a part of it as well. We do have a lot of new senior programming. So one of our recreation coordinators, she started the Thursday Social Club, where she did a paint and sip coffee event, which was totally full as well. And a lot of other things, including hikes and excursions. We started doing new senior excursions to Solvang. They also went to the Camarillo Airport to eat, lots of different stuff. We also just booked a trip to Chumash Casino. So if we get 30 signups, it's going to be like a park and ride at Sarasota. We've got to get 30 signups, $40 round trip, but then you get $40 of free play. You get to be at the casino for 5 hours. So we just announced that as well. We have lots of
Is that
new.
on like a big bus of some sort? Yeah.
The big, yeah, it's
Like
the
a
big
huge-
Chumash bus.
Oh, they come and get you.
Yeah, mm-hmm,
That's great.
yeah,
I
so.
bet you won't have any problems filling those seats. I feel
hope
like
not.
that's really
We'll see.
popular.
Yeah, and it'll be on a weekday, so, you know, more people could come, hopefully.
This is, the lights tour brought up
Yes.
a memory of when, early on, when the Libby playground was new,
Mhm.
they did nights in the park where they lit it up. Were you here for that?
I don't think so.
For years, we've talked about getting it back. I'll talk to you separately, but
Okay.
it was just a wonderful community event because you got to play on the playground at night. And they lit the whole thing up. The sheriff's
Well-
department partnered with us, and they had hot chocolate. It was often during the winter. Anyway,
We did do the holiday lighting,
Mhm.
which was also included with Chamber of Commerce
Yeah.
for the past few years. And then we did a Winter Wonderland event that had Santa and hot chocolate and singers. But I'll talk with you about.
because there was
Thinking of.
really just it's so nice to have some of those community events where you're just there, everybody shows up. It's not a.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry,
Okay,
that was
you're
just it brought back a memory. Thank
That's
you.
all great news, great update. Anybody have any questions before we move on? Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Rachel Lang, are you here? Do you have an update for us or a report to share?
Thank you so much. Well, first of all, I just wanted to welcome the new members of the commission. It's so great to have you, and thank you so much for your service. And thank you, Sage and Susie. I really have enjoyed getting to know you and working with you, and I'm so grateful that you've decided to come back and serve again. So thank you so much for your leadership and for your dedication. I just wanted to let you know, I was looking through our future agenda items and our notes, and the council does have on our list of future agenda items, the pool at Soul Park. But I will mention Tuesday that let's expand that and have a conversation around the feasibility of a community pool, and that way we can work together, and we can, I'd love to collaborate with your commission and with any ad hoc committee that you have to see what our options are and what we can do. And with that in mind too, I'm not quite sure if we have our joint meeting scheduled yet, but,
We haven't heard anything.
okay. Okay, that's right. I'll get some clarification on that before August's meeting, and I'll be back at that meeting too. And that way we can hopefully have that as an agenda item when we all meet together as a joint council commission. And I think that's all I have. Just one more plug for 4th of July. We've been working, Christy and has been working with us to have a city float. And we have 2 of our EV trucks, and we've decorated them. We've got, the Christy and Councilmember Mang and her son Brady and I have been all the decorating committee. And we want to invite you, if you want to walk with us, you're welcome to. We're inviting our commissioners, we're inviting staff, and also council members and families.
So we're float number 39, and yes, if you're available, come meet us in the morning around 9:30, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And then we're going to end up at Sarasota, and so we'll have more of the celebration, and I'm hoping we can win a prize. So anyway, thank you again for your service.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay. And moving on, we have our future agenda items that we have been tasked with. We're still waiting on feedback on the pickleball court sound wall. I think there was going to be a report forthcoming for that for next meeting, right? Okay, so we'll continue that. We have the capital budget projects that's going to be coming, hopefully by our next meeting we'll have that. We added the community pool, and then the review of the master plan. Last meeting we had discussed that for the new commissioners coming on board, that you could go online and review. I don't know if
I
you
think
had.
it still should be an agenda item, I think, to walk through together, to ask questions and talk about the process. I mean,
And
it doesn't have to be immediately, but I'd like to keep it there.
I'd kind
as-
of like it in print.
Yes,
Can
it's
we
much more
print
useful in
that?
print.
Can we like put it as an attachment for us to go over? I just think that's
'Cause-
easier than going online and looking
needs
at
to
a
be
link.
11 by 17
Yeah.
to really get the
Yeah.
feel of
Okay.
what we're looking at.
Because we spent so much money on that and so much time.
Well, we had a lot
But
of
it's
good community participation too, so.
But I think it's outdated and we really need to revisit that, so.
That's how it goes.
And then, of course, the community pool and with the input from Council Member Lang, I think that would be great if we could just agendize it as a community pool and then see where that takes us as far as one way or both.
And then I have something else I'd like to add. Historically, we used to do highlights and features of programs that were running. So each month or every other month, we would have, say, the gymnastics program come, or just various different teachers come and present what they're doing. I think it's really good for anyone who's watching, and I think being that most of us will be new, I think it's just a really good way to highlight and introduce staff and just kind of get an understanding of what's going on.
Yeah.
So if we,
I like that.
yeah, and the people were great. It was really lovely. And sometimes they'd bring
They're very passionate.
students, and yes, and sometimes they'd bring and we'd always do it at the very beginning before we did anything else, so that they don't have to wait around and then move on to our business.
Maybe like we could just highlight a couple of the newer ones or more popular ones so that.
Or even because we have 3 new people, I mean, just pick, gymnastics, of course. I mean, just all those kinds of things that I think, yeah.
Okay, it could just be an update. We did that a few months ago at a council meeting. I don't know if you remember that, but one of our recreation coordinators, she got up and she spoke about the activity guide and the new thing, kind of like what I did, but a little bit more.
Oh,
so we could do
yeah.
that as well, and
Yeah.
then have maybe one of the contractors or
The
your
contractors are
teaching
very
as well.
passionate about, it's really nice to hear from them, and to get to ask questions is nice too.
And we just allowed them to make a presentation.
Okay.
So if they want to bring students, great. I mean, it's like 15 minutes or 10 minutes and whatever they want to do, and just
Okay.
tell us about themselves
that
and what
too.
the kids are doing.
Yeah, it gets it out there.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other future agenda items that you?
If we're prioritizing them, I'd really like to see the CIP draft sooner than later,
Yeah, I would too.
because we're kind of way behind
Yeah.
where everyone else is and what else is going on.
And historically, when we do our joint meeting, we prepare for months in advance for that, so.
This year we're
I'm
all
not
doing the
su-
homework.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of trying to get caught up when we get all the information, so.
But
hopefully
if we could have
We can go last.
If we could do the CIP next month, I think that would,
What is the CIP?
the capital improvement plan,
Okay.
planned projects are just
So we know what's
finishing, and
budgeted
future
for.
projects.
Just for recreation only, just what involves recreation.
Or parks related, yeah.
Park related. Please.
Thank
Okay.
you, that was it for me.
And no other comments online or anything before we close? Okay. Great, well, I will adjourn at 7:09.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Do I have your emails?
Sure.
Do I have your email?
Of course.
If you hear from Mr. Munich, have
Okay.
him call me.
I will. Okay, right here, the 310.